I, 17M, live with my 3 brothers, 15M, 13M, 10M, and my ma, 40F. We're not very well off. I pay almost half the rent, I pay for groceries more often than not, and I juggle having a job, going to school, and raising these 3 kids, one of whom is disabled. I say raising, because my ma, between having 2 jobs and basically never being home, doesn't contribute. She's gone by 8 a.m., and usually not back before 10 or 11 p.m. In the past year, she's been home even less, getting home later and later. I'm pretty sure she goes out drinking. The fight went like this: my ma came home last night a bit before 9 p.m. for once, instead of 11 or later as she's been doing. 15M came out of his room to say hi, and 13M was already on the couch reading something for school, so she hugged both of them, and said hi, and said she'd stopped by the gas station to buy us all something and gave us all a candy bar, which was cool of her. Then, she asked where 10M was, because she wanted to say hi to him. Now, I've practically raised these kids on my own for years now. And I do my best. On the very rare occasion my mom comes home early, she usually just goes to bed. I have 10M go to bed at 8 p.m., which I don't think is unreasonable, and I let the other 2 stay up until 10 p.m., because they're older. We all eat dinner at 6, get home from school around 4, and have a pretty clean routine altogether. Now, my ma was asking where he was, so I told her he was asleep. She asked why, so I told her it's past his bedtime. She told me he didn't have to go to bed that early. I told her he did. She told me no he didn't, she'd said we could all stay up until 10. I said that doesn't work, and she told me she's the parent, and it does work. And then she said it's not my place to micromanage the other 3. She said, her kids, her house, her rules. And then she exploded, that I could stop being such a control freak, because it wasn't my place to do that, or to have signed up 13M for soccer, or to have repainted the fence, or to have taken 10M to the doctor some weeks ago, or any of the things I've been doing without asking her. I told her, it's also my house, I pay a lot of rent, and they're basically my kids, because she's never around, so it's more my house, my rules, if we want to play that game. I told her she wouldn't know what works for 10M, because she's too busy to know him. I told her I might ask for her input if she was ever around, but she never is, so I don't give a shite how she thinks I should raise these kids, and she doesn't get to have a say in it. Not anymore. She broke down crying, called me ungrateful for all that she does, said she doesn't know where she went wrong and left the room. She either went to her room or she ducked off and left the house, I don't know and I don't care. She's an adult, it's her life. 13M said I'm a duck for making her cry, and 15M left the room a minute later, saying he was going to bed. Comment 1. NTA, you're being parentified and it is abuse. I don't fully blame your mum, she didn't choose to be a single parent, but she has inadvertently put you in the position of having to step up and raise your brothers. She doesn't get to go off on you because you are doing what she has basically made you do. Also, 8 p.m. is probably a good bedtime for a 10-year-old. I know my bedtime was 8:30 for most of my childhood and teen years. Those 2 extra hours sleep can make a huge difference at that age. At that age they recommend like 9 to 11 hours of sleep a night, so you are doing the right thing by your little brother. Comment 2. NTA. Your ma should be thankful and incredibly proud of you for stepping up the way you are. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt and say that I'm sure she's working hard to make money and pay the bills, and it's not by choice that she's out of the house from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m., who in their right mind would do this by choice? But, ultimately, she's not home. She's not there to make sure the homework is done, kids are being fed, house is being cleaned up and maintained, etc. You're home and you're the one making sure your siblings are looked after. And quite frankly, 8 p.m. is a very reasonable bedtime for a 10-year-old. I hope you're not losing yourself in all this and are making plans for your future. It is admirable how you're taking care of your family, but you have to take care of you too. Good luck, OP. OP comment. I plan to go to college. And I have good grades somehow lol, so here's to hoping. I try my best to juggle everything, it just feels unfair that she'd pretend that it's just her house, her kids, and me being an insolent shit. 32F, used to have this really cool Uncle Bill. He and my Aunt Sarah, 55F, started dating when I was 3 and we just had this type of instant bond. I loved this guy and he spoiled me to pieces. It was a constant joke that the only reason he married my aunt was so I'd officially be his niece. He was ecstatic when my Aunt Sarah became pregnant because being a dad was something that he always wanted, and adored my cousin Julie, 24F, for the first few years of her life. Then one day while Bill was out of town, I was sleeping over and in the middle of the night I woke up to use the bathroom and heard the back door slam. It had a very distinct sound. I was curious and peeked out the window from the room that I was in that was overlooking the backyard. There was a man there talking to my aunt, laughing and hugging before we went away, and the way that he left was not circling around to the front where the other cars would be going over the fence, and I thought that was weird. I went back to sleep, and when I woke up Bill was back, and without thinking I mentioned what I saw during breakfast. Sarah tried playing it off, but she was weird about it. Unfortunately, there began an avalanche of mess, and not only did it come out that Sarah was having an affair and Julie wasn't his, but my mom and maternal grandparents knew and said nothing. There was a divorce, and while Bill let Sarah have the house, he knew she couldn't afford to maintain it, left the country. He had dual citizenship, and never tried to stay in contact with Julie. It was heartbreaking. I missed Bill and I was sad for my cousin, so I became a target for her and Sarah's anger. In their mind, if I hadn't have said anything, Bill would have stayed. I felt so guilty about it for years that I accepted their acts of wrath in silence, but when Julie hacked my email to reject my offer of admissions to my dream college and 2 scholarships, I just couldn't take it anymore. There was a huge blowout between my mom and Sarah. We've all been VLC since. Fast forward 2020 and I happen to see Bill on social media and I shoot him a message. Ironically, I was surprised that he responded and he asked about my life. We would talk for a while after that, but never once brought up Julie or Sarah. Bill never married and found out he couldn't have bio kids, and I knew that was tough for him. Unfortunately, Bill has passed away. I went to the funeral in secret just to pay my respects and then went back home. I expected nothing, so I was surprised when Bill's lawyer called and told me that I was left an inheritance. I was surprised, and so was Bill's ex-girlfriend, because she tracked me down on social media and put me on blast where all of my extended family could see, and word got back to Sarah and Julie. They think that I'm a witch and my grandparents want me to split it to keep the peace, but I kinda don't want to given how they treated me. Comment 1. Obviously NTA. Your grandparents are delusional. They did nothing to keep the peace when those 2 were trying their hardest to ruin your life. You don't owe anyone a damn thing. Don't dishonor Bill like this. He wanted you to have this inheritance, not the woman who betrayed him. Comment 2. NTA. She should have thought about when she was having the affair. They brought this all on themselves and they should never have blamed you in the first place. You were just the scapegoat. He was bound to find out eventually. I'm guessing your grandparents knew they treated you like crap. Did they ever try to stop it? Why didn't they try to keep the peace during all the years of their abuse? You don't owe them a penny. In fact, you're probably the only person that deserves it. Comment 3. NTA. And you keep every bit of your inheritance. You and Bill had a close relationship, independent of anything else. He couldn't have children, didn't remarry, and decided to leave something to you. You. Not people from previous relationships. These folks are going to hate you and call you names no matter what you do. Let 'em go, honey. You don't need that toxicity in your life. You owe them nothing. You did nothing wrong. You cannot change them. Good luck to you. 37F, got the flu 2 weeks ago. I got it pretty bad. I had GI issues in top of the usual cold symptoms. I was in bed for 4 days with a fever ranging from 103 to 106 Fahrenheit, plus chills, body aches and vomiting. It was awful. My husband, to his credit, did take care of me. He took a day off of work when he needed to, took care of the kids, 14, 6, 4 and 1, solo, and made sure I was staying hydrated, asked if I needed anything, etc. However, he's not me and there are things that didn't get done. I'm a Zam and manage the lion's share of household chores. He works long hours and you can't do chores if you're not home. When he is home, he does spilt things with me mostly fairly. He's not used to having the kids by himself for days on end though. Laundry piled up, the kids made epic messes, the dog poop didn't get picked up in the backyard, and a bunch of other random tasks didn't get done. He also gave the kids stickers, which they stuck to our hardwood floors, windows and furniture. I have to scrape them all off one by one. I'm feeling better now but not 100%. I'm starting to dig us out of the hole we fell into. Today, my husband told me that he was going to take a few days off to recharge. I told him we could discuss this next week, but right now I really needed his help with the kids so I could reset our lives and get back to normal. He got a little fissy and I snapped at him and said that maybe if he had done more than the absolute minimum when I was sick, it would be a different story. He's not happy with me and I'm wondering if I am TA for what I said. Edit: I want to add that a lot of the chores that need to get done benefit him as well. He also doesn't have any clean underwear and he would like for me to prep his lunches for the week. I didn't say he could never have a day off, just that I'd like to catch us up before he took the break. Comment 1. Info: why isn't the 14-year-old doing some chores to help out? Of course, most things are adult responsibilities, but the 14-year-old should be able to do laundry and clean up messes. No wonder you both are exhausted when only you are doing things around the house. OP comment: our 14 years does help out a lot, but he is also super involved in extracurriculars and a pretty high-achieving student. We try not to let the little ones interfere with any of it. He keeps his own space clean, does his own laundry and gets himself ready for school. I'm admittedly maybe a little too sensitive towards this issue because I basically raised my younger siblings and I didn't want that for him. Comment 2. He wants to take time off from watching his children while you do all the things you couldn't do, and he wouldn't do, while you were sick. NTA. I work a lot of hours, while my husband goes to school part-time. When he's sick I know that I have to do my own laundry, and his, as well as take care of our pets. Does he need to remind me as to what needs to be done and when? Yes. I don't know the system, but really he shouldn't even need to do that. We don't even have any kids. I need to do better. Your husband needs to do a lot better. Background: my sister 39F has been married 2 years and in the process of an international, contentious divorce. Last week was my daughter's spring break and on a whim we decided to take a last-minute trip to Las Vegas. I, 42F, have been jokingly pushing a vow renewal on my husband, of 22 years, for a long time. We laugh about it and move on, usually. But right before we left it popped in my mind that doing a vow renewal elopement style would be fun, in the spirit with the last-minute nature of our trip. I grabbed a white shirt, a light-up plastic ring, a janky bouquet of faux roses, and a dress-up tiara for our daughter, the flower girl. I found the absolute cheapest, cheesiest vow renewal package, $69 lol, and we went ahead and said I still do. After about a 3-minute ceremony. It was just something fun for us and we didn't tell anyone ahead of time or make an announcement of any kind afterward because it was just for fun. It was our 8-year-old who went around announcing to everyone, including people on the sidewalk, grocery store, at school, that her parents finally got married. She doesn't really realize, or care about, the difference between a wedding and a vow renewal, so we got some side-eye from people we know thinking we'd been lying all this time about being married. Fun times. Anyway, my daughter told her cousins and my sister that we got married on our trip. My sister was the maid of honor in our real wedding, so, obviously, she got that it was a vow renewal. She didn't say anything in front of the kids but gave me a super fake smile and laugh when she heard. When my sister and I had a moment with the kids out of earshot, she let me have it. She told me it was completely hurtful and inconsiderate for my husband and I to do a vow renewal while she is in the middle of a divorce. Mind you, her divorce has been in the works for 6 months with no end in sight. She told me our vow renewal was inconsiderate and we were rubbing marriage in her face. She said we should either have not done the vow renewal or kept it a secret. She hasn't spoken to me since, and this was almost a week ago. My mom is a people pleaser and refuses to take a side on this one. My friends think my sister is nuts to be mad about it, but maybe they're biased because they're my friends. And my husband stopped caring about what she thinks/says years ago. We are not close with my dad at all, so me, my sister, and my mom are all the close, blood-related, family we have. I don't want this to become an issue because it was mostly just a joke decided on last minute. I'm thinking about apologizing to my sister for making her feel bad and just trying to move on. But part of me is refusing because I think she's being ridiculous. So, kind friends, please tell me. Comment 1. Tell your sister to write down her thoughts about this on a piece of paper and seal it in an envelope before she goes to sleep tonight. When she wakes up in the morning, have her open the envelope and read these thoughts out loud. This is very important, to herself, and then decide if accusing you of renewing your vows just to spite her sounds like a normal thing normal people do or if it sounds utterly ducking unhinged. If she keeps on with this, I suggest buying a squirt bottle and just spraying her any time she starts talking about it. Comment 2. NTA. You and your husband weren't doing a vow renewal at her, and she didn't even know about it until your daughter said something and then word spread. You all didn't make a big deal out of it, post photos or a long social post. She may be going through a divorce, but that doesn't mean you have to put your life on hold or consider her feelings when you're doing a fun and silly, but still heartfelt, in Vegas attended only by you, your husband and your daughter. It had nothing to do with her.